Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death, man.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury.
The Indiana Fever's preseason buzz just took a serious hit. Fans were hyped, the energy was building, and everything seemed on track until Sophie Cunningham went down.
She went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation, not an ideal thing at all coming into the season.
At first, it looked like a minor twist, but now, Coach Stephanie White has dropped new info and it's way worse than anyone expected. The news is disturbing and fans are holding their breath, wondering what this means for the Fever's season.
Let's talk to this game. Number one, the starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing a change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half, but Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return.
It was a heart-stopping moment. The Phoenix Mercury's Sophie Cunningham, a key player with a reputation for resilience, was on the court during the preseason game against the Atlanta Dream when everything went south. In what appeared to be a routine play, Cunningham went for a fast break when she suddenly collapsed to the ground, clutching her ankle in agony. The arena went silent. Fans who had been enjoying the high-energy back and forth between the two teams held their breath as the camera zoomed in on Cunningham's pained face.
Yes, Sophie Cunningham got injured. Okay, she got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now. All right. So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it, man.
Her teammates rushed to her side instantly. You could see the concern on their faces. This wasn't just another fall. Cunningham's history of playing through injuries is well known, but this was different. As the trainers hurried to assist her, the entire Mercury team, from the bench to the court, looked on with a mix of shock and worry. Even the Atlanta Dream players, who were fiercely competing for the win, paused, showing their respect and concern for the injured player. It wasn't just an injury, it was a moment that would define the rest of the season, whether people realized it or not. The uncertainty around the injury was immediate. At first, no one knew what was going on. Was it a sprain? Was it something worse? Fans whispered in the stands, trying to make sense of what had just happened. The medical staff took their time assessing Cunningham, and it became clear this wasn't something that could be shrugged off. She was helped off the court gingerly, her face contorted in pain as she limped toward the locker room. The atmosphere inside the arena shifted instantly. What had been an electric buzz was now replaced with a sense of unease. For the coaching staff, the situation was also critical. Head coach Stephanie White, known for her calm demeanor, couldn't hide her concern. She was seen on the sidelines, checking in with trainers and looking at Cunningham as she left the floor. The coach kept her composure, but her eyes betrayed her anxiety. What would this mean for the Mercury? Cunningham had been a central part of their offense and defense. Her shooting, leadership, and defensive prowess were vital to the team's success, and now they had to play without her for an unknown amount of time. As the game went on, the injury left a shadow over everything. The Mercury tried to shake off the loss of one of their best players, but it was clear that the dynamic had shifted. No one knew exactly how severe the injury was, but the tension was palpable. Fans on social media immediately began speculating, with many fearing the worst. Some thought it might be a minor twist, others were wondering if it could be something more serious. Every tweet, every post was filled with worry. The idea that Cunningham might not be able to return anytime soon was a real concern for the Mercury's future. For the team, the loss of Cunningham meant that they had to rework their strategy. Players who had been accustomed to running plays that involved Cunningham now had to adjust. The offense suddenly felt more disjointed, and the defense lacked the usual spark that Cunningham's relentless energy brought. While other players stepped up, it was evident that Cunningham's absence created a gap. This wasn't just about losing a player, it was about losing a leader. As the evening wore on, the news came out that the injury might not be as simple simple as originally thought. The uncertainty hung in the air. Fans, coaches, and teammates alike were left wondering what this injury meant for Cunningham's future, and more importantly, the future of the Mercury. The preseason game had ended, but the real game, one about recovery, rehab, and the future of the team, had just begun. As fans eagerly awaited updates on Sophie Cunningham's injury, Phoenix Mercury head coach Stephanie White stepped up to the podium with the task of addressing the growing concern. White, known for her calm and measured approach, was faced with the difficult task of not only informing the public about Cunningham's condition, but also managing the emotions of the team and its fan base. What followed was a blend of realism, hope, and strategic foresight that would shape the team's mood going forward. White didn't waste time acknowledging the gravity of the situation. She confirmed that Cunningham had suffered a significant ankle injury, though the full extent was still to be determined. The word serious injury hung in the air, amplifying the worry that had already taken root.
Yeah, just giving a different kind of look and seeing what we might be able to do from that standpoint with Sophie's energy in the starting lineup and with DB's production coming off the bench. So, we'll probably continue throughout the course of the week tinkering a little bit, but preseason gives us a good opportunity to see what we like, because it's important to have a good starting group and it's important to have energy out and production off the bench.
The coach clarified that they would conduct further tests to assess the damage properly. Despite the severity of the injury, White remained cautiously optimistic, focusing on Cunningham's proven ability to fight through adversity. "Sophie's one of the toughest players I know," White said, a statement that resonated deeply with fans familiar with Cunningham's hard-nosed playing style. "She's faced challenges before and always comes back stronger." Yet it was clear that the road to recovery wouldn't be an easy one. White acknowledged that Cunningham's injury was more than just a physical hurdle. It was an emotional one for both the player and the team. Cunningham's presence on the court is not just about statistics. It's about her leadership and tenacity. White emphasized that while the Mercury would miss her on the floor, they would rally around her, keeping her involved in team activities and encouraging her recovery process. However, White also addressed some of the more difficult realities of the injury. Recovery timelines were uncertain. While some players might bounce back from ankle injuries relatively quickly, Cunningham's situation was more complicated. The injury wasn't just another setback in the schedule, it was something that would need to be carefully managed. The coach's comments about the rehab process added another layer to the situation. White noted that Cunningham would need a focused, comprehensive rehabilitation plan. The Mercury's medical staff would monitor her progress closely, ensuring she received the best care possible. It was evident from White's words that the focus was on preventing future complications. "We want her back, but we want her to come back 100%, White stressed. The determination in her voice was clear. This wasn't just about bringing a player back onto the court for the sake of it. It was about making sure Cunningham would be able to return to her full potential when the time was right. The news of Cunningham's injury quickly became a hot topic for fans and the media. White's transparency regarding the situation struck a chord with both groups. Her openness in the face of uncertainty provided fans with the clarity they needed, and her cautious optimism gave them a glimmer of hope. Still, as the reality of the injury began to sink in, questions emerged about how it would affect the Mercury moving forward. The team had already been working to adjust to the loss of key players due to other factors, and Cunningham's absence created even more pressure on an already shifting roster. But it wasn't just the fans who had to adjust. The team had to find new ways to rally around the injury. White emphasized that the Mercury would not let Cunningham's absence define their season. While they would undoubtedly miss her contributions on the court, the coach was confident that other players would step up. White's update also carried an undercurrent of resilience that resonated deeply within the Mercury's locker room. As much as Cunningham's injury was a blow, White's leadership would be crucial in steering the team forward. The coach's emphasis on teamwork and the collective responsibility of the team became a rallying cry. If Cunningham couldn't be there to lead by example on the court, the other players would have to step into the void. White's calm but firm approach to the situation reminded the team that it wasn't about one player, it was about the collective effort. As White continued to address the media, she also made it clear that this injury wouldn't dictate the Mercury's entire season. Yes, it was a setback. Yes, it was a challenge, but it wasn't the end of the story. With the right mindset, preparation, and support, the team could still thrive, even without one of their most important players. And in many ways, White's confidence in the team was contagious. Fans, while still concerned for Cunningham's health, were reassured by the coach's steady hand at the helm. The message was clear: the Phoenix Mercury would remain a formidable force force, even in the face of adversity. The influence of White's update went beyond just the players and staff. It helped shape the public's perception of the injury and the Mercury's future. While the injury was undoubtedly a major hurdle, the way White framed it demonstrated the resilience of the organization as a whole. She didn't sugarcoat the situation, but she also didn't let the fear of the unknown overshadow the hope for recovery. Her words instilled a sense of patience and faith in fans, who understood that Cunningham's return was not a matter of if, but when. Through Stephanie White's update, the Mercury gained something even more valuable than tactical insight. They gained a sense of unity. Whether Cunningham was on the court or not, the message was clear. The Mercury would continue to fight, and they would do it together.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
This statement would echo throughout the rest of the season, reinforcing the idea that the team would remain unbreakable no matter the setbacks. After Stephanie White announced Sophie Cunningham's injury, the media quickly seized on the news, with major sports outlets offering their take on how it would impact the Phoenix Mercury season. Many experts highlighted the severity of the injury, acknowledging that Cunningham was one of the team's most valuable players. Her shooting ability, leadership, and toughness were crucial elements of the team's success, and losing her was a tough blow. Analysts and commentators were quick to point out that Cunningham's absence would put more pressure on other players, especially in a highly competitive season where every game counts. Some experts focused on the impact Cunningham's injury would have on the Mercury's offense. As a dynamic scorer and playmaker, her presence on the court opened up opportunities for teammates and kept defenses on edge. With her sidelined, questions arose about who would step into the role of primary scorer. Nalissa Smith, already a key player for the Mercury, was expected to shoulder a heavier load. However, the team's depth was also praised, with many pointing out that players like Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins-Smith would need to step up in Cunningham's absence. The team's ability to adjust and fill the void left by their injured star would be critical in the coming weeks. On social media, fans shared a mixture of concern and optimism. Many took to Twitter, Instagram, and other platforms to express their sadness over the news, with some offering their well wishes for Cunningham's recovery. Fans shared their thoughts on how the team could adapt, offering suggestions ranging from lineup changes to potential strategies for dealing with Cunningham's absence. The Mercury's fan base was vocal in its support, with many pledging to stand by the team no matter what. A common theme among the posts was the belief that Mercury would overcome this challenge together. In addition to the concern, there was also a sense of pride and admiration for Cunningham's resilience. Fans took to social media to share clips of her past performances, celebrating her contributions to the team. Many expressed confidence that, with time, Cunningham would return even stronger. This positivity in the face of adversity became a defining aspect of the online discussions surrounding the injury. Beyond the injury, there was also significant discussion surrounding how the Mercury would handle the emotional weight of Cunningham's absence.
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor.
Fans pointed out that her leadership would be missed, not just for her scoring, but also for her ability to rally the team. However, there was no shortage of confidence in the team's ability to rally in her absence, with many fans asserting that the Mercury would find a way to adapt and keep fighting. Looking ahead, the short-term and long-term effects of Cunningham's injury on the Phoenix Mercury's performance will largely depend on how the team adjusts in the coming weeks. In the short term, Mercury will have to quickly recalibrate their offensive and defensive strategies. Cunningham's absence leaves a gap in scoring, playmaking, and leadership, and her injury will likely force other players to take on more responsibility. While Cunningham's absence may impact the Mercury's offense, it also allows younger players to step up. Rookies or less experienced players may find themselves thrust into more prominent roles, allowing them to showcase their skills. The coaching staff will need to find ways to develop this depth and ensure that all players are ready for the challenge ahead. Defensively, the Mercury may also need to adjust. Cunningham's ability to lock down opposing players and provide a spark on defense is another void that needs to be filled. With her sidelined, players like Tina Charles and Brianna Turner may need to step up their defensive efforts, ensuring that the team doesn't lose its edge on that side of the ball. The team's defensive strategies may need to shift slightly to account for the loss of one of their best defenders. Long-term, the impact of Cunningham's injury will depend on her recovery. If she can return to form after rehabilitation, the Mercury will welcome her back with open arms. However, if the injury lingers longer than expected, the team will need to consider whether they need to make roster adjustments to ensure they remain competitive. This might include trading for additional talent or adjusting their roster to account for Cunningham's absence over a more extended period. Regardless of what the future holds, one thing is clear: the Mercury's season will be a test of their resilience, adaptability, and team chemistry. The coaching staff, led by Stephanie White, will undoubtedly focus on ensuring the team remains mentally strong and united. The Mercury will rely heavily on their collective effort, and while Cunningham's absence may be felt on the court, her spirit and leadership will continue to inspire the team. White's calm approach and emphasis on teamwork will be vital in helping the Mercury navigate this challenge and emerge stronger. This is not the end of their season. With the team's resilience, determination, and leadership, they'll adjust and keep fighting. While Cunningham's absence will be felt, the Mercury has the talent and heart to overcome this challenge. Fans and teammates alike are united in their support for her recovery, and the future remains bright for the Mercury as they work together to navigate this tough stretch. Comment down your thoughts and stay tuned for more updates on Sophie Cunningham's recovery and the Mercury's journey this season. Show your support for the team as they face this challenge head on.